Roger.
America!
Austin, Texas! America!
Mark Pulisic!
Austin, Texas. The men in blazers are in you. Live from Austin City Limits in the heart of downtown Austin, it's the Men in Blazers This Cup's For You World Cup Tour.
Austin, Texas, you beautiful city. Oh, what a joy it is to be with you on this night of nights. Tuesday night lights. Soccer's coming home. And we are with you on the most glorious night for men's football in this nation in nearly a decade. And I can't tell you what an incredible mix of emotions this feels. It's like a darkness, a fog is lifting across the country. 8 long years we've waited to feel good about our men's team again and to see their joy, to revel in their glory, to see their tenacity, and to allow ourselves to roar full-throatedly. I was totally calm all the way through the game. David kept leaving in crap.
Not true.
To crap our pants a little in the process. I'm not ashamed to admit it.
A little?
But to dream, to hope, to feel the surging wonder of forward momentum. And the O word, optimism.
What?
It's a word that often is followed quickly by doom. But Austin, tonight is that night. We came here to do 2 things. To celebrate the baby Eagles.
Screech!
And drink some beer. And we're nowhere near out of beer, Davo.
And we are not alone, Roger. This show, if you can call it that, is being streamed out into the metaverse via Twitch, where tens of people are watching and commenting on this as we speak. And to prove that, I will read some comments from my pod radio. Parkser74 says, my first MIB Twitch. I think I just crapped my pants. I love that. Shep 9378 says, Pulisic may have sacrificed any potential offspring for that wing. A true American hero. Worth a left testicle, Roger.
Still got a right one to give for the nation.
Keep those comments coming as we talk about today's football. But as for us, we're so happy to be here in Austin, Rog, the city that gave the world Matthew McConaughey.
Did Austin give us McConaughey, or did McConaughey give us Austin? Because the dude is like a Texas Zlatan. And this is such a singular place that prides itself on cultivating the weird and the wonderful.
Home to the only nude beach in all of Texas.
Which is the only thing Davo knows about it.
Yep.
And over 1.5 million Mexican free-tail bats who all sit under a single bridge 2 blocks from where we currently sit. And I've just asked each and every one of them, and believe it or not, all 1.5 million of them are completely Tata Martino out.
It's a city that has gifted us Dazed and Confused, barbecue, and Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Oh. I idolized Stevie Ray Vaughan when I was a kid in Liverpool. I used to import his albums, and though I was a world away from all of you in Austin, just the swaggering emotion of his sound, it moved me so profoundly. And his Little Wing is still a top 3 jukebox song for me all time. And I'm elated to pay my respects and raise a beer in his memory with all of you in this fine city tonight.
Beautiful, Roger. Beautiful. Let us not forget the breakfast taco.
How can we? Big cheer for the breakfast. This is such a gorgeous crowd. The breakfast taco, yeah! 2 words that, like open bar, are both a reason to live and a potential way to die.
Yep.
I'm just telling you, I am actually 74% made up of breakfast taco as we live and breathe tonight.
South by Southwest, Dirty Sick, Barton Springs.
Oh, you are truly the best Austin since Trusty.
This Rog is Longhorns territory.
Hook 'em, motherfuckers.
For so long known as the biggest city in the nation without a professional sports team to its name.
No longer. What? I want to say, what an incredible joy it has been to witness the creation of your beautiful club, Austin FC, to watch what you have accomplished together. I mean, is it really just 2 seasons? Because we were at your stadium today, that tiny jewel box. It is so beautiful.
So green.
And all I can say is when I watch your team play on television, all I want to do, that delirious crowd, I just want to jump clean through the television screen and come and join you. And tonight we're doing that.
Well, this wouldn't have been a bad season to jump through that television screen, Rog. Semi-finals of the MLS playoffs this season. Not too bad for a team that was, just a few short years ago, still only an idea in between tokes in the Matthew McConaughey bongo circle. But...
By the way, we're not joking about that.
No, I'm not. I was actually being quite literal. It wasn't a joke. I wasn't expecting a laugh.
The great state of Texas has given us so many footballers who thrilled this nation over the years. Just this World Cup, roster spots for 3 Texas boys. The pride of Plano, Kellen Acosta. Dallas raised Jesus Ferreira. And of course, that ebullient bowling ball, Weston McKinney of Little Elm.
Aha. But there's also Clint, you don't know where I'm from, Dempsey from, yes we do, Nagadoches.
We do know where you're
We
from,
do know
dog.
where you're from. Oh, Diana Ordonez, the North Carolina Courage goal machine of Frisco, Texas fame.
And we're saving the greatest till last, the true G-O-A-T.
Yeah.
That is how you spell Brexy! That blonde-tress Brianatar from College Station. For those of you who don't remember him, he's the one on top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is he the one? He is the one on top, isn't he?
I've got to go and take a look at that for a second. That's amazing modeling.
What, you think? Doesn't Stoke looks amazing?
Yeah, looks really, really good. Got to say, Rog, also, in the words of Muggs all over the Austin airport yesterday, God bless Texas.
And in the words of Tim Riggins, Texas forever! Tim Riggins, obviously the prototype Walker Zimmerman.
Yeah.
Davo, again, Austin.
Yeah.
We are so grateful to share this moment in time with you. We have come to celebrate. We could be mourning tonight, but we are not. I thought we could be having a good old bloody wake tonight, but we are not. We live. Fear us, motherfuckers. There's no finer place to celebrate the soccer culture that you built here. Our baby Eagles, all they've achieved today in the World Cup, which is almost as bloody weird as Austin itself, the World Cup. And most importantly, let's come and make collective memories with you tonight.
Quick check-in back with the Twitch comments, Roger. This is fantastic. Ben Dominant says, there are only 2 players who have scored with their junk in this tournament. We love stats. One of the most elite footballers on the planet, and the other is Kylian Mbappe. And Batosai31 says, Pulisic's junk will rise again and fly high, just in time for the Nitlons.
Sounds like something from Game of Thrones. Pulisic's junk will rise again, harder and stronger.
Talking of harder and stronger, Rog, now for the ritual of rituals at a Men in Blazers show. Please rise, everyone, in the audience as we take the first ceremonial photograph of the 2022 World Cup. On your feet, Austin. Hold up your ESPN signs.
Hold up your signs so we know where we are. As great warrior Delia Smith would say, let's be having you, Austin! Ronaldo and Davo both do the tippy toe thing for photographs. Oh my God, it's amazing. A miracle I'm bloody even standing at this point, Davo. Let's be candid.
While you still are standing, and I know we truly are at mid-tour, Rog, at this point, why don't you kick us off with a toast?
I want to raise a toast. This third, it's actually my 18th first bud of the day.
Have a lager drink and a whiskey drink.
It's Tuesday. To Cristiano Ronaldo. That bottle of Dragon Noir in human form, who has reached the stage. That's amazing. Look at that. If you're listening along at home, two incredible, the room is booing, but two incredibly courageous Cristiano Ronaldo fans have both leapt up at the front with Ronaldo jerseys. They have been paid by the Emir of Qatar to represent Cristiano whenever he's about to be defamed.
They are two large Adonis-like figures, though. I think we got to give them their due.
They are, if you're listening along at home, just picture one of Cristiano's nipples, because these men are as big as each of those bad boys.
Yeah.
And Cristiano has reached the stage in his career when he's now claiming goals he didn't even touch. By the way, not just claiming them, but adamantly, committedly, baffingly. I mean, his mate, Bruno Fernandes, honestly, should be the headline across the world after scoring twice in the defanging of Uruguay. Yet, there may be no I in team, but there is an I in Iberian team. And instead, we have late-stage Ronnie entering Bonfire of the Vanities cautionary tale stage of his career. The man our mate John Oliver called on our show, Ronaldo, the Qatar World Cup of people. And if you didn't see it, Ronnie leapt up to head across from Bruno, tried to head the ball, missed, but yet celebrated, even though FIFA now have technology which can objectively, scientifically prove that it never touched his head. And my friend Rory Smith of the New York Times tweeted, yeah, you know, he must have scored it with his aura.
Possible. Possible.
So I'll just say, God bless you, Ronnie. At Seth V. Neal, a great GFOP, tweeted, in Ronnie's mind, the hand of God was a lesser goal than the hairspray of Ronaldo.
Okay, Roger, to the football and the biggest US men's team game that we have covered in 8 long years, as you just said. Iran, did I pronounce that correctly? Nil. The US men's national team, what, too soon? The US men's national team won a win or go home game for the Baby Eagles, and they delivered for you, Roger. A dominant first half performance from the Baby Eagles, highlighted by a wonderful goal. Weston played a delicious over-the-top ball to Serginho Dest, who knocked it down for Christian to steer home with his Pulisics. The second half, though, a somewhat different story as Greg attempted to shut the game down and go into a shell. Iran had several chances, some calls that caused US fans to hold their collective breaths, but in the end, they emerged victorious and enter the round of 16 this weekend.
Come with me back in time to the moments before kickoff when I felt just an incredible collision of deep, profound human emotions. It's why I love football. I'm not going to lie, that it makes me, a bloke who believes he's dead inside, feel things that normal people say they feel in real life. And I did feel alive. But I got to say, the loss in 1998 to Iran, in which we were humiliated with the world watching and football-loathing Americans feeling validated in that loathing, it's just a shit sport, guy, by our boys in Poland. I found it paralyzing before kickoff. I really did. I was a bit of a hot mess,
Yeah,
Dave.
the first thing you said to me when I arrived at the Q2 was, Davo, hold me. I see no possible path to victory. I bounded in like Tigger, all optimistic and happy, and Rog was in fetal position.
I thought a lot. There's a George R.R. Martin quote, can a man still be brave if he's afraid? And the answer is, that's the only time a man can be brave. And I drew incredible solace from that going into it. I will say it didn't help that the build-up had been filled with slapstick, self-sabotaging, US Soccer's social media team, and we've all seen it, went on a rogue campaign to try and start a geopolitical cataclysm of their own with a doctored flag tweet, which I'll just say led to some slightly demoralizing, confused press conferences in which an Iranian journalist asked Greg Berhalter why he hadn't asked the United States government to remove a naval ship from near Iran. And that Timothy Murphy tweeted us, buddy, we can't even get him to play Geo. And I just say, things before the game, I mean, we know we won, right? Spoiler alert. But before the game, it felt a bit Argo, right? I mean, in the most awful of ways. And I want to say this quickly. I was so proud of my friend Tyler Adams in an epic moment of Iranian press conference whataboutism. He was put under insane pressure by an Iranian journalist, sent there clearly by, let's just say, higher government powers. How would you describe it, David?
Well, Iranian journalists simply work for the state. They're organs of the state. They're not independent journalists.
You've just described Alexei Lalas.
Yeah, okay. He also... Fair. But in the last administration.
Well, no, that's not fair. He works for Qatar.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Good point. I stand corrected.
These journalists were sent there to do no good. And the way...
God damn.
God damn, say that again.
God damn.
That's Alexei's dad feigning a Texas accent. It's good to have you here, Mr. Lalas. Yasu! But I will say, to see Tyler, a 23-year-old... Anyway, that may be Mr. Q here to intimidate us.
Could be Mr. Q.
To see Tyler, a 23-year-old, respond with graciousness, with a deep, deep intelligence, and I found just a profound humility in a moment of incredible friction. I mean, just incredible geopolitical friction. Name me a single politician who could do what Tyler did in that moment.
No, not a single one. Maybe Ron Klain. That was it.
Maybe
Nothing
who?
else. Ron Klain.
Ron Klain.
GFOP.
Klainey.
No one else.
Klainey. No, Klainey couldn't do that. And to the game, the big question was who plays striker and rid our nation of its terrible trauma of deep, deep footballing constipation. And Greg decided Iran would fear gingers.
Yeah, fair.
And so he unleashed the Prince of Norwich. Yeah, that's how tactics. Josh Sargent, get on there. And the big shot came with the call to give. Cameron Carter-Vickers, a big, big unit, 24 years old, from Southend-on-Sea, a World Cup debut. And, I mean, when we saw it, we were like, Davo, centre-backs, they need chemistry. They need reps. Tim Howard came on our show before the World Cup and said centre-backs need at least 50 games to really gel together. Let's just say, before the game kicked off, that was some crazy batshit call. Did you understand it?
Well, I mean, don't get us wrong. Cameron Carter-Vickers, fantastic player, has had a fantastic season for Celtic. But you do expect your centre-back pairings to get worked out before the World Cup, during friendlies, which are really elevated practices of some kind before you play matches. And it was enough that we hadn't really put Tim Ream together with Walker Zimmerman, and but they're now working. It's working.
Yeah, working too well. Let's break this partnership up.
Let's break that up.
Let's create some more chaos and panic.
And so now CCV coming up just appeared a little bit. It was eyebrow raising.
It was a thing. John Space Muller tweeted, Tim Ream, Cameron Carter-Vickers never played together for the US men's national team, and the two combined for just 90 minutes together in World Cup qualifying. Hell of a gamble. I think the strength was Cameron Carter-Vickers' pace of a young man to snuff out the counters. At Spencer Horner tweeted, be courageous. The one thing I've learned from your podcast, and this is no doubt what Greg's thinking, is that two last names are better than one.
Yeah, fair.
My friend Jesse Marsh told me that the first 20 minutes were going to be key. Who would set the tone? And honestly, it was Iran. First 10 minutes really coming for us, hoping to get a knockout punch in early. And we did that thing we do where we repelled well, over-eager in the final third, a lot of snatching at shots and inability to cross. We've got 330 million people in this nation, and not one of us is able to cross the ball. Corner after corner, frittered away agonizingly. We needed a player to propel us forward with confidence, to detonate that Iranian backline. And I've got to say, Davo, I know you share this. We're both blown away today on his 20th birthday by Yunus Musa.
Wow. You know, Yunus Musa is you've interviewed him, Rog. I fell in love with him on his first appearance for the US against Wales in that friendly 2 years ago. Ever since he came in, he looks different class, and he looks unlike any other player who's played for the US in that position before. We've never had that sort of deep, sitting, holding midfielder who can just make that many tackles and also spring together towards the offense. He was everywhere. I'd love to see that heat map. It would be like me playing that game on an Etch-a-Sketch where you try and like cover the entire, cover the entire board. He was just wonderful and magnificent and long-legged and brilliant.
And truly a child of the world. Kid born in the Bronx when his Ghanaian mother came over to deal with a family challenge while heavily pregnant. She happened to have Yunus here, moved back to Italy quickly, headed to London, where he was honed in the Arsenal Academy, moved to Sevilla, very impatient play, wanted playing time all that time, honing his craft. Could have played for England, Italy, Ghana, or us. He chose us.
Yeah.
And on this day, our nation was all the better for his hero's journey. And then, 38th minute, a great American moment. I don't like to be hyperbolic, but what we're about to see is up there with the moon landing, the Wright brothers' first flight, and season 1 of The White Lotus. Let's take a look.
Amazing goal. It gets better, that goal, every time you see it.
What do you see?
Well, 5 players. That incredible switch of play from Jedi. Let's give him that nickname now. Incredible switch of play by Jedi. Tyler Adams gets up, you know, as we've said a lot, a player, when he gets the ball, has 3 choices. Do you shoot? Do you pass? Do you dribble? And he decides to pass, but the ball he makes is fantastic, and the ball is circulating quickly. That gives Serginho the chance to, like, make that blind run on the right wing, and Weston McKennie just finds him with a beautiful ball. That ball is just like, in and of itself, that ball was fantastic.
That ball is worth all the Chipotle money.
Yeah, Serginho then has that is a anybody who's played on the wing knows that header is so difficult to make and to actually get great contact with and to put it without too much pace right in the mixer. He puts it into the mixer, and Christian has to show all the bravery and courage in the world to beat 3 Iranian defenders and get on the end of it with his end. And it just is, it's a remarkably brave, but beautiful, 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 insightful goal.
Again, I don't like to be hyperbolic, but George Washington, General MacArthur, Betsy Ross, Eric Winalda, just saying that because I'm scared of him.
All great historic
Scared
Americans.
of him. Christian bloody Pulisic. And by the way, Serginho Dest often seems to be that kind of footballer. We talked about him earlier in the World Cup, Batshuayi, Belgium, that they just, if you give them a choice of lols or doing something incredible, they'll choose the lols every time. They're in it for the laughs. But man, what an incredible, intelligent footballing moment by him, nodding back across the area, really hard to do, in placing it in such a vulnerable spot. And talking about vulnerable spots, as Pulisic swooped in to finish, by Ranavan, Iranian keeper, smacked clean through him like an Iranian drone strike straight through the Hershey down belows.
Oh.
And by the way, you know when, was it Panama that Pulisic scored that incredible goal where he shriveled, it went through someone's legs as he span and then hit it home, and all the journalists were like, did you mean to do that? He was like, I've been training for this goal all my life. I'd love to know, Pulisic has obviously clearly been training for that balls in his whole life as well. Because the true greats in this World Cup have all scored goals by sacrificing their nuts for their nation. And Mbappe and his penis of God goal. I think Christian was just trying to keep neck and neck with the greats, or should I say scrotum and scrotum, with the French God in the key battle for the testicle d'or.
Yeah. That's an award given out at FIFA the Best. It's not at the main celebration.
Yeah, the scrot, they call that one. Sounds better in French, I think. But in all seriousness, le scrot. All hail Christian Pulisic, that kid who is a 19-year-old. He deserves it. He does. This is a kid who fell to the turf in agony in Trinidad and Tobago as we failed to qualify in agony, the 2018 World Cup. And today, he gave his all, and I really mean his all. What the Bible refers to as, I believe, his seed. He gave of himself so that we could all live. What?
We don't, okay, fair, go with it.
We don't know. We're not doctors. We can't hypothesize about what happened to him. Let me say seed. And to have a leader who is willing to perform with such bloody courage is honestly a true symbol of this team in the here and now. And honestly, Christian, I know you're listening from the bottom of my heart. I'd like to offer you one of my testicles. Let me know where to send it if you're listening. Even if you don't need it, I think it will make a very nice paperweight or something. Just a very nice memento of this moment. Well, you can put it in one of those glass lucite tombs or something. Just have it be a doorstop. We should
go through with this next weekend in Nashville. It'll be an amazing show.
Well, just to be clear, we were on with John Green, and we'd already scored, and John was on, and I was screaming, and he was screaming, and we're both losing our crap. I was like, John, what would you give if just have the referee blow the whistle? John was like, I'd give 2 fingers, like he thought it through already. Amazing. I probably would at this point. I've got 4 kids. I've got 4 kids, and I'd love them to see a World Cup quarter-final with the US in it in their lifetime. Look, we almost made it 2 just before half-time. Tim Weah almost made his dad just burst with pride with what looked like a second sublime finish. So good. I think we should all watch it and pretend it's a goal. Come on, let's save it, Austin. By the way, this is apparently, according to John Strong, a automated system. Get the fuck out of a semi-automated system. Yeah. We want a fully automated system, one that doesn't make it look like John Joe Shelby's playing for both sides.
When are we going to ban the semi-automatic systems in this country?
Yeah.
It's gotta go.
This was an agony, not just because of the call, which was by a knee's breadth, but also because there was an immediate feeling, I don't know about you, but profound worry. All that possession, all that verve, all that confidence, all of that testicle blood in the Iranian goal mouth. And just one goal to show for it. Or put another way, Iran just needed to get lucky once and we were done. And at halftime, we talked a lot on our Twitch about how the game was going to become one of adjustments. And We know the Iranian manager, Carlos Queiroz, is bloody good at adjustments. And Davo, is adjustments Greg's strength? Because I think of him more, his strength is more just like looking ripped in tight athletic clothing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to rain on the parade because I think this was a terrific performance by the US, a terrific success to get out of the group. And they showed, these boys just have shown such terrific fight through every single game to sort of end up with what they've got. But I think my worry as an observer of this team.
A neutral observer.
As a neutral but an interested observer. I want the US to beat everyone in this tournament other than England. And England managed to take care of that themselves, that they couldn't manage to do that. But I only want the US to do well. And I really want the US to build towards 2026, which is going to be a phenomenal opportunity for this country to actually win the World Cup. It is. So I'm observing this manager. So I not only look at the forward progress of these amazing baby Eagles, I look at the forward progress of this manager. And once again, I just felt it was incredibly important that Greg Berhalter adjusted before his opposite manager, Carlos Queiroz, and he just didn't. And so we had this bench. We've got these three midfielders, McKennie, Musa, Adams, just expending so much energy running around these enormous fields in Qatar in the heat. And no substitutes, no adjustment whatsoever coming in the midfield. Everything happening up front. Haji Wright comes on. And we put on about 15 MLS defenders at one point to balance for the fact that there were no MLS players in the starting lineup. And it was just, it just didn't really seem. And that second half was ugly for the US men's national team, Roger.
Yeah, Gio, you want to know where Gio is? I'm starting to think about Gio, that if Gio spelled his name with 2 G's. Like, what's your name? My name's Gio. I do still think Greg would play him. I think he's undermining him from an etymological perspective. But we did look so out of gas. It was like stop, drop, and pray suddenly that second half. Started to feel like Wales Redux 2. And the substitutions, Greg decided to lock down the back, went 5 at the back, more Walker Zimmerman, and the midfield was gas, flailing away. I was like watching White Walkers, if you know, just like, we are dead, but we're going to try and pretend we keep living. They were out on their feet with nothing in transition. That was the Gio miss. Nothing to threaten or menace around anymore. And honestly, watching it, I've realized Greg, I think, was like, I am not going to be outcoached on adjustments in this one. I'm not going to be mocked. I'm just going to try and shut it down completely rather than go micro-tactical move by micro-tactical move. I'm not going to make me the story. I'm just going to smother the game. And it was hard to watch because we ceded momentum, we ceded initiative, we ceded possession, and it was back to 0 shots on goal in 45 minutes. And it honestly just felt like America's democratic system itself seemed like it was hanging by a thread. And then John Strong said something awful. 9 minutes extra time! 45 minutes, 45 minutes still to play, and 9 minutes extra time. And I was just like, holy crap, 540 seconds, which felt like it took about 2 years. There was an agony in there. Iranian players flailing away in the area. One of them, this was an amazing moment, handled in the area, claimed handball, which is just like, next level if it worked, bro, I gotta tell you. And down the stretch, 98th minute, thank God we're sponsored by Tommy John Underpants. This is my 5th pair kicking in now. Roll tape. If you're listening along at home, that was Cameron Carter-Vickers breathing on Tarimi, a human being who feels gravity more than just mere mortal human beings. And that was an agony for all of us, right? That was like visiting Dante's 9 circles of hell. It was not called on this day. And I do want to make this point. A different ref, a bad ref, a ref who likes collecting manila envelopes, and we would be mourning today instead of celebrating.
Yeah.
Living this dangerously, even if you're Bon Jovi and you make money off living on a prayer, I'll just say we left a lot of chance a lot to chance this afternoon. And
I actually feel like if Taremi had gone down more intelligently, he might have won that penalty. But it was thank God the call wasn't given. A couple of other chances in that second half for the Iranians. But yeah, we were living on some kind of a prayer.
There was a moment when I felt a stabbing pain in my chest. And I had to WebMD it while I was live twitching. Like the difference between WebMD said, no, you're just watching Greg Berhalter's US men's national team in the clutch. And it was a real agony, it really was. There was a white light. I walked towards it, reached out, but then the final whistle blew, and I was shattered. I'd sweated through my sweatshirt. I was so moist in the down below regions. I had turtle head, I had the works.
No, Roger.
Yes.
No, don't.
And the players, you saw what it meant to them in that moment. Just the exalted exhaustion and wonder. 8 long years since we last played in a World Cup knockout round. US men's national team are there again. We're there again. We're where we belong.
Yeah.
We're where we belong. We should be in the knockout rounds, but we've exercised the trauma of 1998. You're all too young, really, to remember that, many of you. But this was a vengeance. This was for the players that played in '98. We had Frankie Haydock on our Twitch. He was dialing up on AOL, so it was a bit of a bad. It was dial-up, wasn't it?
It was dial-up, and he was about 35 drinks in.
Yeah. And he kept just going beep, 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 beep. He had a very funny moment. The only when Christian did his goal, he just shouted out, "It was just one nut. He's still got another." Frankie Haydock gives me my annual medical. But this is a massive moment, a massive step for this generation of players, an incredible moment for men's football in our nation. And I feel for these kids. They have to prove themselves on the field. They have to prove it off the field too. You know, they're still here. The widest possible audience still doubt them. And the football world, they still want to box these players in with the old stereotypes of American players. This win, please God, will shatter all of those bloody stereotypes. And I'm so thrilled for so many of these boys. Tyler Adams, a true captain. Tim Ream, Grandpa Tim. He'd booked a family trip to Disneyland and is now balling in the form of his life. He's going to be on a Twitch with us for the last game. He was like, yeah, cool, Rog, I'll be on with you. Instead, he's balling for our nation, the games of his life. Matt Turner, who did not play football until high school. Not giving up a single goal from open play in the group stage. I would say, for the haters who have wanked on for years about his feet in this ridiculous, ridiculous debate about him or Zach Steffen, his footwork has been immense today. And 1930 is the last time we had multiple shutouts in a World Cup group stage, and we got to the semi-final that year. I'm just saying. There you go. You said something beautiful at full time. You wanted to share a word for the Iranian team. That was your emotion. You really felt for them.
Yeah, there was a moment, obviously, as we were looking at the American players and just so excited for them and having a moment, as I did just want to think about, for those Iranian players who were contemplating not only defeat and going home to the World Cup, but thinking about what they were going home to. Their families, their friends have reportedly already been threatened with torture and imprisonment based on whether or not these players sang the national anthem. I think loss will be humiliating for the Iranian regime of a theocracy over there. And I just, honestly, my thoughts and prayers are with those Iranian players who played so hard in this group stage. They played so well against Wales, bouncing back after that awful loss to England. They really played a fantastic match today against the US, and it would be wrong to celebrate this US victory without saying, you know what, they had to overcome a very, very tough Iranian side, and Godspeed to those Iranian players, and I just hope they're all okay when they get back.
I'll just add that geopolitics are complicated, and tonight, in many of the areas that are filled with a feeling of revolution, people took to the streets tonight to celebrate their own team's defeat. They see this team as a symbol of the regime. Everything is complicated, more complicated than we can ever imagine. All I can do as humans is wish these poor players who were caught in a vice, I think, Godspeed, and just say women, life, freedom. And that's it. We're now in the wide open waters of the knockout round where anything can happen. It really can. Greg will not be judged as a failure. That's the baseline. He got us where he was meant to. That was the goal of his campaign. You know, big questions away. You can ask the question, these kids are unbelievable. Like a manager who can make really incredibly intelligent tactical adjustments. What's our ceiling? But for now, we are Greg's team. How shattered is our midfield? How gassed are they? Can they go again? We wait on Pulisic's fitness. He's got a pelvic contortion. He looked bloody good in the celebration video. Yeah, thank God. We wait for an update on Josh Sargent. Weston McKinney also has some kind of a knock.
Yeah.
And I've officially started a GoFundMe to purchase Christian. Join me, friends. I'd like to build Christian a testicle made of gold.
Made of gold?
A gold, made of gold, which will present him from a grateful nation upon his return. Thank you, Mark Pulisic. Thank you, Kelly Pulisic. Genuinely, I've got to say, a deeply validating moment for a player. Today, this is the first time I've seen the Volkswagen commercial where he's on the therapy session. I was like, yes, that works. Good on you, Christian. Roll on Saturday. Roll on the Netherlands. We don't fear the Netherlands. As I've always said, there's two things I hate in the world. People who are intolerant cultures and the Dutch. I gotta say, the Netherlands were a real contender going into this. They've got a lethal front line, an excellent experienced back line. Frankie de Jong has shone alongside Gakpo. But if the US can cut off his service as Ecuador did, that Netherlands team can be vulnerable down the flanks. This is not the potent Netherlands of our imagination. They can be got at in transition. But who cares? Honestly, from this point on, all of us, let's savor this. Let's make memories. We are playing with house money.
Yeah.
Pass the Dutchie on the left-hand side. It go a bun. By the way, Davo, how long until US Soccer releases a doctored version of the Dutch flag?
Yeah, the wrong way round.
With the Iranian national symbol superimposed upon it.
Yeah. Yeah, how do we get at the Dutch? It's going to be interesting.
Looking forward to it.
Let's
Louis van
burn
Gaal
the
saying,
Edam.
Yeah,
We'll do something.
I just think Louis van Gaal will be, can you please get your gunboats outside for the Rotterdam harbour?
Yeah.
Dave, I've got to tell you, right this second, as I sit here with you beautiful Austin people, I feel so fucking confident.
Yeah. The question is, when we Twitch on Saturday, how are you going to be feeling?
Oh, I expect that to have burnt off completely. Soccer's coming home! By the way, at Bookwater TX, who may be here by the last two initials, tweeted, US men's national team has never lost a World Cup game while Roger's been a citizen. I'm just a humble tax-paying servant, Davo. And
on the Twitch, Soul Reaper 989 says, I think Roger's dying, which is interesting.
So that you can live, Soul Reaper. That's a terrifying handle you have, by the way, when you do comments like that. Maybe that's actually Satan's burner account. I will say, there's a lovely side of all of this that I do want to acknowledge. The US men's national team advancing means that the US women will earn more from this tournament than they did for winning the 2015-2019 Women's World Cups combined, which is wonderful and also deeply effed up, Johnny Infantino, you bastard. God bless the equal pay agreement, baby.
Yeah. Okay, Rog. To the other game in Group B, Wales 0, England 3, a dominant, if not particularly inspiring, first half performance from Gareth Southgate's mob. But then you know what he did, Rog? He adjusted. He switched Rashford and Foden on the flanks,
That
and then
bastard's showing us up.
I know, it's amazing adjustment. Marcus Rashford brace. You love to see it. What a wonderful young man he is. And Phil Foden's first ever World Cup goal, and that saw the Three Lions finish atop the group. set up a matchup against Senegal on Sunday, I guess. Rog, amazing.
I don't know what you're asking me. I have no idea what day it is right now, to be candid. World Cup 2022 has been going on for at least a decade in my mind. But whisper it. This local derby, Wales, the only non-sovereign nation in this tournament, facing up to England. What Matthew Rees from the Americans told us, what feels like months ago when we were on the stage with him in New York City. He said, this game is about not football, but 800 years of oppression. Which is how I feel every time Everton play Liverpool in the derby. But it was a fury that was really exposed. If you watch the game in the first major tactical battle, the anthems, in which the Welsh belted out, Hen Hwad La Funadao, Land of Our Fathers, just the players lifted by the voices, charging down from the stands, singing, lifting their team up in one voice. There was about a half note out of tempo with the track playing over the loudspeakers at the Ahmed bin Ali Stadium. England, by comparison, upright and composed. Pretty much like one of those slightly skinny, unnerving dogs that stares right into the camera at the Westminster Dog Show. But they always win as well. I never understand that. And from the opening minutes, England dominated the ball. Wales were locked in. They were so good without the ball, a bit like Haji Wright. Haji's an amazing footballer. He is, apart from when the ball is in his vicinity and then it goes to crap.
Yeah.
But when he's not on the ball, he looks so good.
Wonderful not on the ball.
So good. And Wales is outclassed by England's tactical ability, technical ability, but they challenged everything. They chased every ball like it was their last, and it was. 30 minutes in, Gareth Bale had yet to complete a single pass. Less an elite footballer, more a MacGuffin at this point in his career. And England's midfield took over. Phil Foden, the man with the most expensive fade in Qatar. You think that Rolls-Royce the Sheikh gave you was $460,000? This haircut was a lot more, he said, but not in as decipherable an accent as that. Pep Guardiola's blood of his blood, popped between the lines, pulled the strings, combined with Jude Bellingham, pieced together intricate moves. But it was still 0-0, Davey. And even though England fans were singing "You Going Home in the Morning," there was an air of frustration
They were
growing.
also singing Jingle Bells, which was so nice to hear at a football match. Anyway, carry on.
Jingle Bells is just one step away from rainbow armbands, I got to tell you. But you were not pleased at half-time.
No, I thought it was another sort of dull, insipid performance. You know, better than the first half performance against the US, but not finding a way to really connect in the way that they had against Iran. But you did look at that England bench, and you looked at all the players on the England bench, and you looked at the quality on the field, and you just did feel that, you know, the time was going to come.
I actually looked at that England bench and thought Gio Reyna had more of a chance of coming off it than...
Certainly under that manager.
He's born in Sunderland. Into the second half. The run of play picked up where it left off. Previous 45 minutes of patience paid off. Just 3 minutes in, Phil Foden picked up the ball on the left. They switched wings, slalom towards the 18-yard box. From 23 yards out, up stepped the people's hero, Marcus Rashford. Let's take a look.
Wow. Wow.
You love that.
I mean, he hit it so hard. He hit it so firmly. I mean, Marcus Rashford, whatever you think about Manchester United, whatever you think about England, whatever you think about football, you have to admire this young man. Just amazing, amazing the work he's done. And to watch him come back, you know, he's had a lot of struggles on the football field, has got back into that United side, has forced his way back into the England manager's reckoning, and now... you know, added another goal in this game after the goal in the last game, and
beautiful,
there he is,
beautiful.
3 goals.
Tough season last year, put the pieces back, rebuilding his confidence step by step. I'll just say this, the world is a better place when Marcus Rashford is scoring bangers, and just a minute later, it would get worse for beautiful Wales.
You know, my favourite thing about that goal is Bellingham is celebrating before Foden even puts it into the back of the net. I love that.
First World Cup goal in his young career for that human hand grenade. Third assist for Harry Kane. Just a move of mental connection, chemistry, synergy. And Davo, we talk about the US men's national team dad's WhatsApp group. All I could think of in this moment was how proud Pep Guardiola would have been in the England dad's WhatsApp group. Which I believe Eric Wijnaldum is also an honorary member of.
He is. He loves being in dad's groups.
He loves dad's groups.
Loves the dad's group.
Pep's son Phil, first World Cup goal, and that sucked out all the wind from Wales. Spent from chasing the ball. Southgate shuffled the pack, flung on a ton of players. Trent Alexander-Arnold amongst them. Great to see him back.
Yeah.
And England struck again. Wales committed bodies forward. Rashford over the top. Just humiliated Connor Roberts. Used the Welsh backline as a meat shield to disguise his shot. I think he rolled it from at least 2 pairs of legs. A third for England. They really pulled away from Wales. It was hard to watch. I'm someone who loves Wales. I love the nation. I love the countryside. I love the people. I know how much this meant to them. Being in the World Cup, playing bloody England too. Football coming home is now back, faintly audible across that nation.
Very faintly.
I mean, but I will say, a composed, mature display by a squad, and God bless Southgate, a little bit of redemption, been under the cosh. There's only 2 gears for English mood, which is A, we're going to win the World Cup, and B, he's a witch.
Yeah. Right now, I still think we're teetering closer to he's a witch than we're going to win the World Cup. But Southgate deserves a lot of credit. This was remarkably England's best performance in a World Cup group stage ever. They've never done it. 7 points, a +7 goal difference, 2 fantastic performances, 1 not so great performance, but against a very, very tough US team. And I think England feeling pretty good going into the last 16, playing against Senegal. I think that's going to be a difficult, very, very difficult match. But I think that England, with all the experience that they have, Rog, in that squad, the experience of 2018, the experience of 2020, the experience of Gareth Southgate, the adjustments, new word, of the manager, I think they're in pretty good shape.
I do want to give a respect to Wales. I do adore that team. And there was a shot towards the end of the game where the Liverpool great Ian Rush was in the stands. He was, many of you will not have seen him play. He was the all-time top scorer for Wales before being surpassed by Gareth Bale. He's a bit of a bastard. He scored 5 goals in a derby against Everton once, and it really, we were 5-0 down, and the clock was ticking. I was very young, and I said to my dad has a saying. He says, it only takes a second to score a goal, Rog. And we were 5-0 down, and it was in the 90th minute, and they said, it'll be 2 minutes of extra time. And I said to my dad, it only takes a second to score a goal, right? Thinking 5 seconds, there's 120 still to go. And my dad, who never swore, he just turned around, he was so furious, he goes, don't be fucking stupid, son. So it's that Ian Rush, and Ian Rush is... Ian Rush was an incredible footballer. He never made it to the World Cup. And I thought about Bale, Ramsey, Allen, just wayward wizards who will likely now sunset their time on the national team. And I wonder how old they'll be when the cameras pan to them in the stands, watching Wales in their next World Cup. Wow. And I hope it will not be too soon. I hope it will not be too... But football is best with Welsh fans participating in it.
Very true.
And talking of fans, great fans, let's talk about Qatar, David.
Yeah. Now to the team. The US men's national team will meet in the next round. The Netherlands 2, Qatar 0. LVG slides into the next round while ensuring Qatar have the worst World Cup record by a host in the entire history of World Cups. That's not good, Rog. Or maybe it is. But goals from Cody Gakpo and FDJ Frankie de Jong. So I'm trying to do Derek Ray justice here. See the orange.
His name is Derek Ray.
See the orange finish top of the group, Group A, and set up an LVJ versus Triple G match for the ages. 4 Gs in that matchup, Rog.
Yeah. And we got 3 of those motherfuckers. I will say this game was like, the first half was like, thank God for Derek Ray just reveling in the opportunity to commentate and scream, Memphis Depay!
Depay!
And the Netherlands, encouraged by Derek Ray, slap Qatar, emerge from the group stage for the 8th straight time when they've qualified. Cody Gakpo, 27th minute, 3rd goal in 3 games, header versus Senegal, left foot versus Ecuador. This one he slapped home with his right foot. He's used all the obvious ways of scoring.
Yeah. No.
I mean, how much do you want it, Cody, against America? But he did score with a smile on his face that I took pleasure in knowing it will soon be wiped off in no time when Manchester United have overpaid to render him impotent. Oh, a Gapcon team now, lad. Yeah. But farewell to Qatar, a team who, let's be honest, should never have been in the tournament. They were truly terrible. Before the nation brought the right to host it, they spent $1.3 billion on the Aspire Academy to stimulate youth development. It didn't work. The team were woeful, crumbling under the pressure of being the face of a $220 billion campaign. Worst host of all time, worse than Kathy Bates. And they were.
But they had such incredible fans, Roger.
Yes. So here we go. By the way, part of me is like surprised they didn't find a couple of more dollars down the back of the couch to like do that bribing thing that really leads to quick winning in world football. But there's an incredible story that Davo's drove me to by James Montague in the New York Times yesterday, where he revealed that Qatar invested hundreds of millions of dollars in their academy to produce a team, and then we're like, oh crap, we've got no fans. And like, they didn't want to be embarrassed as having no like atmosphere when their team took the field. But there was a reason they didn't have fans, because ultras to an autocracy like Qatar are dangerous. And James Montague wrote about it. He said the songs crafted on the bleachers in Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Lebanon, all fantastic footballing traditions. They've been the soundtracks to anti-government protests. But the powers that be knew that if Qatar played to a sterile atmosphere, it would be a humiliation. So what did they do? They paid hundreds of Lebanese students, fans of local clubs there, to chant, "We are maroon," to wear Qatar T-shirts, to display banners, to bring energy. And to me, it's the perfect symbol of a brazen, corrupt, grotesque choice of host who have provided a tournament that's sterile, inauthentic, antiseptic. And I'm saying this at great length because I'll be candid. I was also shocked that Fox did not mention at all in their broadcast that this was the worst performance by a host nation in the history of the tournament. I'm being serious here. Not once. In fact, they kept saying down the stretch, with respect to Qatar, it's only 2-0. And
they also cut constantly to this group of fans, and they never mentioned that they were ultras reported in the New York Times from Lebanon, from all over the region. They never reported on any of the LGBTQIA+, just awful human rights conditions in this country. They haven't reported on any of it. They haven't even mentioned, they haven't even talked about any controversy around it.
They didn't even talk about the US press conference yesterday. They just said the US team are really amped and ready to go and focused. I mean, by the way, we laugh. But I just say, the way we disconnect football from truth at every level is a grave, grave danger, both at the FIFA level and at the broadcasting level. And having said that, Davo, you think that Todd Burley will be looking at the import Lebanese fans for atmosphere thing and be thinking what?
Great for business. Early kickoff, Stamford Bridge, Saturday lunchtime. What do we need? More atmosphere. What do we need? Lebanese ultras. They're going to be bringing them in, blue T-shirts by the thousands, down the King's Road, down the Fulham Road, put in through the gates. Let's double the revenues. I love it. Burley's going to love that idea.
Beirut, Chelsea, till I die. Senegal, baby.
Yeah. Ecuador 1, Senegal 2. This was a wonderful game of football, Rog. An AFCON CONMEBOL winner-take-all affair watched very closely in the CONCACAF, scored by the sounds of the Senegalese faithful, who were just wonderful throughout. Senegal took the lead for an Ismail Assar penalty just before halftime. Ecuador hit back in the second half via Brighton's Moises Caicedo, only for Chelsea's Kalidou Koulibaly to hit home less than 3 minutes later. He won it for Senegal, A wonderful performance that sends Senegal through to the knockout rounds.
Koulibaly loves those Lebanese fans.
Loves
Low-key
them.
game of the day. AFCON champs needed a victory to advance. Ecuador needed a draw. And it was all Lions of Teranga only, flooded forward. The Ecuadorian team looked like they were actually just like, you know what, this is what Jesse Marsh said on our podcast. He said, when you play for a draw, you will lose at the World Cup. And God bless Senegal's fans joyously powering their boys forward. Cutaways showed them dancing joyously like it was some kind of Dakar bar mitzvah. And it was just beautiful. It really was. It was just so, to flick between the two games and see the Lebanese mercenary, David called them Hessians, to see them and then to flick back and see these Senegalese just savoring every moment. And the good vibes turned into goals. Watford's Ismail Assar drove into the penalty area, whacked down, stone cold penalty, which Sarr converted. He said, you know what, the whole world's looking, it's a crucible of pressure. I'm going to unfurl the no-look penalty. God bless you. 1-0, Ecuador come back, needing a goal desperately, and when things aren't going well because they couldn't get stuff done, set pieces. Greg Berhalter, this is me just telling you, just like slightly passive-aggressive suggestion. Set pieces are good, bro.
Yeah.
And from a corner, Brian's Moises Caicedo snuck in at the back post to draw level. Brighton and Hove, Ecuador, you lovely bastards. But before we could say, up the eagle, up the seagulls, and en Espanol, Senegal went right back the other end. Mere 2 minutes, 32 seconds later, Koulibaly, first ever international goal, fine finish, and that was it. David, I'm so bloody happy, ultimately, for the Senegalese football fans. They took to the streets after the match. Let's take a look at this video, because it's majestic. I look at this, and I'm like, the ability football has to bring joy to an entire nation. Flags, and if you're listening at home, there were like half a dozen flamethrowers. And we will know America will become a proper footballing nation when we have flamethrowers in the street after a big win. And so Senegal march the next round. They will face England. Senegal without Sadio Mane, but still persevering tenaciously with talent from across Europe's biggest leagues. No African team made it out of the group stage in Russia. Senegal does it here. And every time an African team does well out of the group stage, I feel like it's a tiny bit of payback for what Toto has done to their continent. I wish them well.
Yeah, beautiful, Rog. Congratulations, Senegal. Very much looking forward to them playing England later that week. Still a good single, though. Okay, joining us
By the way,
on stage.
Sadio Mane, I interviewed him once, and that's all he could say in English is fuck Toto.
Joining us on stage now is a true Hollywood legend, Roger. One of the most iconic actors of his generation. A face that, to put it plainly, defined an entire generation of teen girl lust. He brings the count of people on this stage voted as one of the 50 most beautiful people in the world to a strong total of 1. He is also underratedly one of the finest virtuosos of the actor playing themselves cameo in the history of the genre. You may know him from his role as James Van Der Beek in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, or as James Van Der Beek in the slept-on Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23. An incredibly talented comedic actor. He's the man who brought us Varsity Blues, one of the greatest sports movies ever made. Now, a proud Austin area denizen. What a joy it is to welcome him on stage. It's the one and only James Van Der Beek.
What's up, new hometown?
God, I wish you could smell James. He smells amazing. James, it's a great day for America.
Wow,
It really
just
is.
hit me over here. That is a great smell.
Oh, thank you. It's
That's why it's a great day for America. What did you think I was talking about,
Oh, yeah,
David?
I got you.
Johnny Mox would say, we have the rest of our lives to be mediocre, but we have the opportunity to play like gods for the next half hour of football. And our boys did that today, right?
They did. They really did. Yeah.
I wish Johnny Mox was the manager of the US men's national team, David.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I spent a lot of time watching sports films. Fiction and self-deception are pretty well the only way I can enjoy happiness in sports in my life. But you're a gent that's actually been in a sports film, not just any sports, but I do believe one of the most joyous American sports films ever produced.
Well, thank you.
Can we hear it for Varsity Blues?
Thank you. Thank you.
I think it's up there with Victory, which I think is a documentary, right? With Hatch, he was a real person.
Varsity Blues shot in Austin, Texas, by the way.
James is running for mayor next year. But I'm curious about your list, because you're a modest bloke. Does Varsity Blues make the sports movie pantheon for you?
Does it make what?
Like the pantheon of sports, great sports
Where does
movie.
it fit?
Yeah.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
I mean, I love it. It was my, because listen, I've made some crap movies in my time too. You're being very nice. That's one that turned out pretty good. So
Yeah, not crap.
Yeah, I remember liking it when it came out too. Yeah.
God,
Like I watched it in a theater with people and people liked it, which was a new experience for me at the time. So, yeah.
We've never had that experience.
I mean, my first movie that I ever did, I was 17 years old, and people said, this is going to change your life. And I thought, cool, I'm ready for that. And then I went to a screening in New York City with my college friends, and there was one other person in the theater, opening weekend. And I thought, maybe this is the kind of movie that just doesn't play in New York.
Yeah.
I thought it was I was that one person. I thought it was fantastic.
I don't know if people know this, James, but you come from something of a sporting family. Your father played minor league baseball.
Yeah,
I believe you played some baseball growing up as
Yeah.
well. Also some American football. Also, for one glorious year in high school, the beautiful game of soccer. You told us before the show I was always a pretty good athlete until I started playing soccer. Talk us through the journey. What can you tell us about the James Van Der Beek soccer career?
Well, let's
You
see.
just described Haji Wright as well, by the way.
Carry on, James.
I, after playing American football for a while, decided that the best time to try soccer was in high school after growing about 4 inches and my feet growing about 2 sizes.
This is the Matt Turner story.
I was, like I said, I wasn't always, I didn't have to be the best athlete on the field. I come from an athletic family, but I was not used to being the worst athlete on the field.
Wow.
Which happened when I decided, hey, I could do this.
What were you playing, forward? Were you playing at the back, in the middle?
I was playing wherever the coach thought it would be the least liability. Yeah. I mean, I could be kind of a nuisance on defense, so
Okay,
they put
that's
me
good.
back there because I could just get my body in front of people.
Okay.
But that was about the extent of my
You got the
ability.
man bun of a world beater, I got to
Yeah.
tell you. And you are this is the World Cup of man buns. It should have
Yeah.
been men bun. I don't know what it is, what the plural is. But you're a self-described fair weather football fan.
Oh, the fairest weather football fan,
You
yeah.
come to the World Cup like a Catholic who only goes to church on Christmas once every... It's just like millions of people around the world.
Oh, yeah.
And particularly in America, consume football this way. What is it about this tournament that we're living, in my case, barely living through, in this one? What is it that draws you in every 4 years, James?
Honestly, it's when you have these countries have their relations, governments have their relations, and then people get on the field and you see things like what the Iranian national team did with the national anthem. And you recognize that through sports, our common humanity. And so, that was really touching to me. And so, in our victory today over that team, I just want to give a real shout out of respect to the athletes and wish them well.
Oh my word! I watched again the Iranian national anthem, watching those Iranian players sing the national anthem, which they didn't want to sing, but they knew that their families were being threatened if they didn't sing it. It's the most heartbreaking thing one can imagine.
It's crazy.
I felt that every time I sang God Save the Queen as a child.
Oh, may she rest in peace, Roger. May she rest in peace.
What?
Too soon, thank you. Landon Donovan.
Too soon!
I know you're a fan of Landon Donovan.
Prince Edward,
James.
yeah.
He scored what might be the greatest goal in the history of the US men's national team against Algeria in 2010.
Sorry, we need to update that now. The best American goal not scored with his reproductive organs.
Yeah, with a leg. The best goal scored with a leg. A phrase, Go Go USA, that has reverberated in our brains ever since. Do you have memories from that moment of the Landon Donovan goal?
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool because I'd met Landon a couple years before that. He was dating somebody I was working with, and so I got to.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was being paid to make out with his girlfriend at the time. That's how I met him. And he was very gracious about it. And then when he scored that goal, man, there was a real sense of national pride. I feel like for my generation, that was the moment where we all thought, do we not suck at this? Like maybe we don't suck at this.
That's good.
Which is a good feeling.
Relatively. We're still answering the question in many, many ways, to be candid. I believe I know the answer. I think we are a fine footballing nation with a true history that flows through our blood. But we also are incredibly self-aware and very sensitive. And we do ask that question far more than I believe we need to. But the mentality of the American football fan, there's always so much hope. There's always almost an overbelief in our own ability, often in the face of all evidence pointing to the contrary. Jesse Marsh talked about this in our podcast on Friday. There's a lot of delusion in the way of approach the game. Can you describe the Van der Beek World Cup mental process, how you describe your approach to sports fandom? Are you the kind of hype myself up, or are you the tempering expectations in anticipation of inevitable heartbreak?
Well, no, I think delusional optimism in the face of all evidence to the contrary is an American quality. What's more American than that, baby?
I love it. By the way, thank God that wasn't on the citizenship test, because I would have felt it was
Oh, you would have still passed with flying colours, Roger. That was very much you.
That's only because you only need to get 8 out of 10 right. I'm always fascinated. I do these Instagram lives before games, mostly for my own benefit, because I'm really shitting bricks. And you all, I'll reach out to you all about how you all doing. I expect you also to be filled with doubt. I'm like, how do you think the score's going to be? And you're like, 5-0 USA, motherfuckers. It's amazing. What you're saying is genuinely, and I love it, I admire it. I do believe it's the one tiny little trait of Englishness which has been left behind in me, and I hate it. It's just the defeatism, David.
So the US play the Netherlands next weekend in this tournament. The Van der Beeks, one would imagine, perhaps a little Dutch blood. Wow.
Yeah.
Your ancestors are being booed right now.
They're not saying boo, they're saying Mr. Burns.
Yeah. So perhaps you've got a little love for the Oranje, for the Dutch national team.
He loves them.
Listen, when the World Cup comes around, I watch the Netherlands and I watch the US and I root for both. And I made the mistake last game of having my kids watch the Netherlands versus England. I'm like, hey, these are our ancestors. This is where we come. We come from the Netherlands. And they're watching them run around in their little prison jumpsuit uniforms. And they got excited about it. And now they're playing the US.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Rotterdam. I will say,
it's not there anymore.
I will say, this marks the first time anybody in the U.S. has ever told me to go back to where I came from.
Yeah. It's good.
That's not a good thing, necessarily, but I'm just saying that is the first time I've ever been told to go back where you came from.
Yeah. Guys, I have to, at this point, intercede to defend our guest and read a statement from his agent which says, Roger, please read this out in case James is heckled. I have to say, even once New York, it was New Amsterdam. So let's all be friends here. Back to you, James. Go back to Rotterdam.
Go back to Rotterdam.
So no, how are you going to handle this? How are you going to handle this Saturday? The Van der Derek Ray would say the Van der Beeks.
The Van der Beeks.
Van der Beeks. The Van der Beek side of the family is competing with the Van der Beek side of the family. How will you handle this?
Yeah, well,
is it like are you happy either way? You just
yeah,
like,
I'm a glass half full guy. So when the U.S. wins, we'll be very happy. And there's really zero chance of us being completely demoralized, is the way I look at it.
I got it.
In our household, right?
I think
There's no loss.
What James is saying, he's saying, give me liberty or give me death. Let's move on to something.
Yeah.
Let's give something that we all want to share in a joyous fashion. I feel like we've just moved into, I feel like I'm in an Iranian press conference all of a sudden. I don't know why. I'm not handling it as well as Tyler, but you just moved here to this incredible city.
Yeah.
Davo and I have been here for 3 days. Honestly, feels like it's been about 6 months, if I'm being candid. But you moved here from LA 2 years ago. You relocated with the entire enormous, beautiful Van der Beek clan. After decades in LA. Your arrival was perfectly timed to match the existence of Austin FC.
Yeah.
And I know you just went to a game at the Q2.
Yeah.
Conference semi-finals win over Dallas in MLS playoffs.
Yeah.
And I loved what you posted. James, you wrote, falling more in love with this city with every passing day.
That's true.
And each person I meet. And I want to know, I read that, I saw this photograph.
Yeah.
And I was like, tell us what you experienced there. Tell us what you saw. Tell us what you felt.
I sat down. It's an amazing venue. It's an incredible fan base, as you guys know. The drums and the songs and the, you know. What are they shouting? Oh.
Oh, God, I love that. That's Spanish for go back to Rotterdam.
But I sat
I've
down.
spent quite a lot of time in Rotterdam. It's a really lovely city. Anyway, carry on.
Amsterdam was fun from what I can remember of it. But yeah, I sat down and we were just bathed in green light. I was with my daughter and I just thought, I fucking love this city. I love that I live here. Yeah. So
I remember you told me backstage that you particularly loved that there was a changing table in the men's room.
yes. Yeah.
And I thought, I love that too, because when I watch football, I need to change my underpants on the regs mid-game.
I've changed a lot of diapers on my knees squatting in a men's room. So the fact that they had a changing table in the men's room, I was
Good. Big on you, Austin.
They had one in the airport too, by the way. I was happy about that.
The diapers I change on my own.
So for you, James, last question for me. What makes this city so special? What makes it feel like home for you? Because I know you're from Connecticut originally.
Yeah.
You tried it in Los Angeles.
I gave it a good 20-year run, yeah.
Didn't really work. But what makes Austin feel like home for you?
It's the people. It's the people. There's a fun, crazy, creative vibe here, mixed with salt of the earth.
Yeah.
You know, Texas is the weather's tough, the terrain is tough. There's scorpions, there are goat heads, especially out where I live. I mean, it's not for the faint of heart. And there's also this amazing mecca of crazy, fun, creative people. And so, you know, LA, everybody's in the clouds, and that's fun because it's dreamland. But you come here and you get the creativity mixed with salt of the earth, and I'm like,
I love that.
This is my vibe.
That's great.
Yeah.
Austin, please be upstanding for the best Van der Beek since Donny. One of your own, Hammers Van der Beek.
Thank you, James.
All right, thank you, guys.
Honestly, I can die a happy man now. James fucking Van der Beek. What a great American, David.
Good man. Very, very good man. Okay, our next
It
guest.
smells of like vanilla essence and manliness. That's me, patchouli.
It's something, it's not patchouli. Our next guest, originally from Laredo, Texas, this fine gent is a Grammy-winning Austin psychedelic soul legend, a creative genius. The dude is in at least half a dozen bands. He's produced a couple dozen more. Basically, he's got more side hustles than even Gerard Piqué. Thievery Corporation's Natalia Clavier called him the most talked about man in the Latin music everything right now. Just like the man he used to collaborate with, he's a true prince among men. As lover of both Mexico and the US men's national team and Austin FC, he's also proper football. You know him from the mighty Black Pumas, the best Pumas since Ghana's kit. Welcome to the stage, Adrian Quesada. We should also mention his new solo album, Jaguar Sound. Go and get it now.
Adrian, you are a beautiful human being. I've got to tell you, you are such an inspirational dude. I'm so happy to be in the city just to be with you. You play with Prince, you play with Daniel Johnston, but a couple of years ago, you were thinking about quitting the musical grind, and you teamed up with a musician in Austin, Eric Burton. You formed Black Pumas. I think it's fair to say everything's exploded. You played Joe Biden's inauguration. You played Colbert. You racked up Grammy nominations. You got a solo album out now, which is quite fantastic. How would you understand your trajectory from the outside? Because, we had Glass Animals on our show recently, and they talked about how everyone's like, oh, my God, you're such an overnight success. And they're like, oh, my God, we are the longest overnight success in musical history.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Somebody once said that, and they were like, must have been a long night. And there's been a lot of long nights doing what I do. But, I always tell people when they talk about the music industry, I say, I'm not in it for the industry. I'd be doing music, whether or not people listened or not. So I'm happy to just keep doing it. The fact that more people are paying attention now is amazing. I'm happy to be here.
So we really do love this city. Rog and I have both spent a lot of time here over the last 20, 25 years. And this truly is an American original city. 20-odd years ago, I know you were driving around Austin listening to bolero music on the radio. The city has changed so much since then. Give us a sense of the singularity of this fine American city and how it's coped with that pace of change.
I think my favorite way to sum that up is somebody once told me Austin was cooler 5 minutes ago. So, it's just like, you're never going to win. I mean, I've been around long enough to know I've been here over 20 years. I do remember things over 20 years ago that I preferred. Less traffic, no reservations, fewer lines at places. But there's a lot of amazing things that come with the change if you just embrace it. We have a goddamn, amazing football team, amazing restaurants, amazing people, amazing culture. It just continues to evolve and change. I don't think there was a perfect time that you could, capture that represented Austin. It just continues to evolve like most things should.
Yeah.
What's your Austin look like for those of us who are fortunate to visit and looking to tap into kind of beyond the surface crap?
What does my Austin look like? Oh man, you avoid the interstate. I avoid I-35 at all costs. Y'all should know that. Just find back roads. It's kind of becoming like the boroughs of New York to me, where people in South Austin exist in South Austin. People in East Austin do East Austin, Central Austin. This is cheap thrills here. I'm just getting everybody to cheer.
Yeah.
North Austin, Central Austin, East Austin, West Austin. But everybody exists in kind of their own little, bubbles now, and we all just come together. But it's an amazing city. It's like I said, it's always changing. So many good restaurants. I remember when there wasn't that many good restaurants here, and you can have literally award-winning chefs every other restaurant, cool bars, cool music. Amazing music. Really, it's just we've earned that live music capital of the world, and yeah.
So you talk about all these different Austins and what can unify them together, and there is something remarkable that Austin FC have done here so quickly. Since they debuted 2 seasons ago, even before the team, there was no real connective tissue that bonded together all these different Austins. There were major cultural events, but no one is going to wave a flag for South by Southwest. Austin FC has really created a symbol of the entire city in its diverse, eclectic, joyful zaniness. How have you experienced that? What Austin FC have managed to achieve?
Yeah, you read my mind. I swear to God, I was just thinking about that backstage because, you know, we've been known as a musical city, and we're still a musical city for sure. And we have, you know, festivals and gigs and clubs and musicians and a culture that supports live music. But I would venture to say that Austin FC is uniting bringing more people from different walks of life into one building, or not a building, you know, an outdoor stadium to gather and all come together. I've witnessed that. I've seen how music brings people together in Austin, and I've seen another level of it with what Austin FC is doing for the city and for the culture.
You know, I mean, honestly, I just want to say, like, when I watched this US team, I made a show with Brendan Hunt called Go Go USA, and he talked about how the US football team, in this time of chaos for our nation, is a group of human beings of all diverse backgrounds, storylines, but it's one thing that our entire nation can cheer for. And being in this city for the past couple of days, I feel the same. I feel it, what Austin FC stand for in this town. And it really is remarkable. But I did hear a rumor that you were next up to play the national anthem on guitar, had Austin FC made it past those bastards LAFC in the playoffs this season. And what I wanted to ask you was, you know, you've done everything. You played with everybody. You are one of the most talented, creative human beings I've met on this tour. And I wondered, were you just like going to stroll onto the field and maybe just wing it, or had you given any thought to how you were going to do it? Were you going to give it the Hendrix or Woodstock treatment? Tell us.
Hendrix at Woodstock is the only way to go, man. There's no other version of that exists. So I was watching that LA game. Unfortunately, we didn't get there. But the fact that Austin FC in just a couple of years got to where they are, you know, we know where they're going to be next year.
So from a footballing perspective, your family is both American and Mexican. I know you follow both teams. It's a wonderful dual identity that so many people in this country and this city particularly share. These two countries, US and Mexico, are huge footballing rivals. But talk about the upside of getting to cheer for both teams.
Oh, it's amazing. On a day like today, I'm American, you know?
Yeah.
And then, and if you guys talk any shit about Mexico, Canelo's gonna come kick your ass, so.
Yeah, he's really doing that. He's really doing that.
No, but it's an amazing way to grow. I mean, that's how I was raised all my life, between two cultures, between two countries. I think it was an amazing thing that informed everything I did for the rest of my life, from my music to my art to, you know, my upbringing was everything with that. I think we need more, like you know, the example we were talking about with you know, football bringing people together, sports bringing people from all walks of life and together. I think we need more of that, more, you know, more, like my friend said, more bridges, fewer walls. So, you know, having that dual identity of growing up between Mexico and the US.
Yeah, agreed.
I get to cheer for two teams.
Yeah.
And put the pin on the one that won that day, you know.
God, I can't tell you how excited I am to be with this gentleman tonight. I have revered him ever since I first heard the debut album of Black Pumas, Black Moon Rising. And backstage, I was like, holy crap. When I heard it, it reminded me of something of Robert Cray's Strong Persuader. And he's like, I expected him to be like, holy crap, that was the sound we were going for. He's like, I've never heard that album before. Please go home tonight and at least give it 5 minutes. The opening track, I was just like, holy crap, this is sweet and stunning. But I never read that you said your goal with that band was to create soul music for the modern age. And I need a life truth from you. What's the secret of true soul? I
think for me and for Eric, you know, who whenever we talked about what we were doing with Black Pumas with soul music. The most important thing was that it felt like it was coming from our soul, you know, and not like trying to mimic or copy any sort of particular other sound. So.
Like Robert Cray's Strong Persuader.
Exactly.
But I do want to talk about a copy for one moment, and please indulge me, because I have loved you ever since then. You are you're a creative genius that I admire deeply. Your creativity, just your musical tone is remarkable, but that love was truly cemented when you released a cover version of Tracy Chapman's Fast Car. And I want to know, my life would not be where it is without that song. And Men in Blazers fans know just how truly, madly, deeply I love that. I love it so bloody much. That, to be candid, I fucking hated every single cover version that's ever been made. But yours hit a spot. And what I want to know is, what made you try and cover the song, which is akin to trying to replicate Michelangelo's David? And what's the secret to making it truly sing Tracy's life truth in your way?
So I can't take a lot of credit for that. That was a song that Eric had already been covering when he was living in LA. He was busking on the Santa Monica Pier, and that was one of the covers he used to play. I will say that apparently Tracy, we did have to run it by the Tracy camp. And she's only approved 1 or 2 versions ever before, and ours was one of them. So we were blessed. We were blessed with the Tracy Chapman's seal of approval. It's one of those songs that, you know, I think everybody can find a lyric in there that they can relate to, or you know, shed a little tear to. Seems like you're shedding a little tear right now.
Shed a little tear. Rog just shed 1,000 tears.
A tear in that Jägermeister bottle.
On a daily basis. I've got to tell you, I wrote that question before I knew the result. I wrote the question last night. I didn't know whether it was going to go well today or badly today. I thought this may be the conversation where we really pull our dark feelings together. I'm so unbelievably happy that we're still walking, we're still living, our limbs are all still as intact as they were before kickoff. And I'm so happy that I've got to spend time with you today, a gentleman who represents this city in my mind. Now, to meet you in reality, a gentleman who once said, what did he say? Just tell the secret of a great Mexican restaurant is what?
If they're showing football on the TV, soccer on the TV, then you know it's a win, you know? So. I'm trying to say football to appease y'all, so.
What is the finest Mexican restaurant? Last one for you in Austin, Texas.
Damn.
Can I tell you, the first 2 comments we had are, don't blow it up.
Oh,
and
shit,
then
Laredo. I see
Laredo
right
from
there.
Your heart.
Yeah, Laredo. 956, bro. The people have spoken. Okay.
This is what I've actually.
I'm gonna have to give a shout out.
Vox Day, right?
By accident, I put you in a worse position than Tyler Adams at an Iranian press conference. Everyone was loving you, and now I'm just like, I'm going to take you off, and I've just effed you
Iranian
completely.
food in Austin. I want to have to shout out Nixta is an incredible restaurant. My friend Edgar.
Okay.
He won a James Beard Award. He also made the Times 100 most whatever list this year. Incredible place. My friend Fred Mean at Suerte is amazing. There's a few amazing taco trucks. I love Pueblo Viejo. I love Trippy Tacos. If you guys have not been to Trippy Tacos, Veracruz all natural.
Oh, that's great. I went there today. I love that today. Yeah, fantastic.
God, can I just apologize publicly for fucking you like this? I'm so sorry.
You really threw him under the bus. That's like a hospital pass.
David, just plug his album again to make me feel a little bit better, please. Lift the album up, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah, we did this. We plugged this.
Hey,
Jaguar Sound.
let's hear for the album!
Buy it on vinyl. Buy a record player. Listen to it on vinyl. Vinyl, beautiful work. Austin, please be upstanding. He's one of your own, Mr. Adrian Quesada.
I'm so sorry to fuck you like that. Oh my God. I feel like Johnny Cash. I just shot a man just to see him name his finest Mexican accent. Restaurant. Oh, John Johnson.
Oh.
Normally brings a message
more
saying, get the fuck
Camarena
off
tequila
stage.
for
Instead,
me.
he's bought more glasses. We've got
Beautiful.
12 more guests tonight, guys.
There we go.
One
No,
of them
Rog.
is Christian Pulisic's testicle.
No. It's going to be poured out on stage, and Roger's going to smelt it into pure gold.
Behold, a religious symbol is upon us. I formed a new religion.
Yes, Mr. Pulisic. Yes, Mr. Pulisic. Mark Pulisic, we'll do anything you say. Okay, our final guest this evening is one of this town's cult heroes, up there with Mitch Kramer. A footballer, a soccer player who has been banging in the goals as a professional since he was a sophomore in high school. A gent who, although he is just 27 years old, has amassed more than 300 Major League Soccer appearances, banging in 66 goals along the way. Just about 2 years ago, he traded the gloomy New England winters for the sweet, sweet Austin sunshine. Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the first goal in Austin FC franchise history scorer. He's a foot golf connoisseur, a KUTX DJ, an adopter of stray pets. He is proof blondes have more fun. You know him, you already love him. From Montevideo, Uruguay, by way of Leominster, Mass, to right here in ATX, it's Diego Fagundez!
Diego, what's your favorite Mexican restaurant? No, I'm not gonna. I want to say, welcome. I have loved you since you made your debut. I remember watching you and just thinking, this guy is just, I mean, you just are an ebullient. You're like watching a can of Coke shaken up just take to the field every time you go. I love watching you play football, but I've got to ask you, what do you think of our boys today, the United States?
I'm going to be honest. First half, I didn't really get to watch. We're doing some practicing for dancing. Kind of a challenge. I don't know how to dance, so I challenged myself to do Dancing with the Stars here in Austin, so it's coming up. So it's for the kids. So, I decided to take a challenge and say, you know what, I'm going to dance December 10th. So hopefully I do well, and maybe we can, after celebrations, we can start dancing. But second half I did watch, and I think I was a little nervous for them. But I had faith. They looked solid, especially having Matt Turner in the goal. Give it up to Matt Turner, of course. I played with him, and I know how hard it is to score on him. So having him there, I felt confident that they could definitely pull it up.
What is it about that man? I love how he sings the national anthem of the United States of America like an angel voice king.
Oh, beautiful voice.
I mean, you have seen the ascendancy. You've lived. You're a teammate of him in New England. I mean, at the beginning, you just like, this guy is so crap, it's unbelievable. Like what he has remade himself. He's rebuilt himself. He is just. I mean, it's one of the, I will be candid, Matt Turner is one of the single most remarkable professional sporting stories I've ever seen. You know him well. What is it about him that's allowed himself to propel himself to glory?
It's crazy. I think people, when he first came to the league, I was in New England, and maybe they didn't believe in him because he was the third string. But knowing when I was there, we would stay after practice, and we're shooting, and he's saving, and every day we're shooting 50 soccer balls. He's saving them. He's staying. He's working on his feet. He knows what he needs to get better. Until now, you see this process. It is amazing. I'm glad I got to play with him. I'm glad he's on the national team. He was the best player in the Gold Cup. He best goalkeeper. I think he was the man of the match in that game too. It's just unbelievable. When there's a PK, I literally look at whoever's right next to me and I go, he's saving it. That's how confident I am. And to see him in the World Cup, and it's amazing. His journey, everything he's done, all the hard work he's put, the passion that he has for soccer is huge. And to know that he started at 16, that means you can start when you're 5, when you're 15, when you're 10, when you're 20. It doesn't matter how old you are.
When you're 46.
If you can actually do it, you can.
I will say his career did seem to change in that Gold Cup journey when he found out you could use your hands, and it really seemed to just take him next level. He's like, what is this shit? Oh, what? Really? But as we say, you moved from the United States, from Uruguay, that incredible footballing nation that I admire so much, so tiny, so potent, that mentality, unbelievable. You came here with your family when you were 5, and you proceeded to terrorize defenses across the Northeast with the Greater Boston Bolts. God, by the way, just a great American footballing name, the Bolts. And you made your way into the Revs Academy, signed your first professional deal when you were just 15. You spent a decade with that team. Okay. We shot that backstage. The light wasn't very good. But again, you broke through, and I watched you, and I was like, that guy. I loved watching you. And you were in that MLS original franchise, no soccer-specific stadium, out there in the suburbs. And you arrived in Austin 2 years ago. I mean, to this incredible city, this incredible footballing city, such a modern MLS franchise with that stadium, which is a marvel. And after all those years in New England, what did you think when you touched down in this magical kingdom? I mean, I think in legal dramas, that's called a leading question, Your Honor.
To be honest, when I came here to Austin, it was first day everybody opened with open arms. From day one, I remember opening Instagram, and Kako, which he's here somewhere in the audience, I don't know where he is. He's over there, see? First person who messaged me and said, hey, let's go play foot golf. And that's how it all started. And I said, yeah, let's go play foot golf. I want to get to know people. I want to have some fun. So I think it was like 12 of us that day. Of course I won, I have to say. He only beat me once, I have to give him credit, but other than that, I've never lost against him. So, but after that, it was just a fun day, and just got to know people, and it wasn't one of those things, oh, you're a famous player, no, it was just like a normal conversation, normal fun day. So it made it a little bit more special. And after that day, I remember we're in the 18th hole. I win, of course, after we do the whole thing. We take a group picture, and they say to me, hey, if you score, can you throw the LV sign? Of course. Who thought I was going to be the first player to score in this franchise? So I did, and the LV came up.
I should say, for listeners at home, Diego Fagundez did not take long to cement himself as a fan favorite. The foot golf thing, the game, which you were very, very modest to note on your Twitter that you won. And I've got to say, Diego, I think they were a little concerned that if you didn't win as your new signing, that would not be a good sign. You know, you being a professional footballer and all, but that's not the only reason. Thank God they learned to love you. Austin's second ever game, trailing 1-0 to Colorado. You only went and did this.
Still get goosebumps.
I love it. It's so nice.
It's the club's first ever goal. Sparked a 3-1 comeback win. Afterwards, you threw up that LV hand sign as a tribute to the Verdes members who pretended to be crap at foot golf just to make you feel better about yourself. But I've got to ask you, Diego, you're the club's first ever goal scorer. It's an amazing moment for the club. It's an amazing moment for the fan base. It's an amazing moment for you. How much does it mean to know that you will live in this club's lore forever?
It's amazing. Even watching it right now, I get goosebumps. It's just a feeling that no one could ever take away from me. I came here to prove myself that my career wasn't over. Austin took a chance on me, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give back to everybody.
By the way, let me ask you, what is singular about this as a soccer city? What is the football culture here? What makes it different? Tell our audience nationally, what is so different about this place? It's special. It's different gravy.
First of all, we have the best fans, let's be honest. But one thing when I first got here that I thought was special was no matter where you go, this flag is everywhere. No matter where you are. You can be downtown, someone has a jersey, a hat, a scarf, a sticker, something, someone's wearing something. And if it's not that, then they're wearing a club jersey. And if it's not that, they're wearing the US jersey or wherever they're from. So soccer is becoming so big. And I don't know if it's because we're the only professional team here. So that makes it even more special to be here. You go out in public, people know who we are. You go to Boston, people don't really know who we are. They know Tom Brady. They know all the big guys. You know, it's fine. But you come here, and we feel like they know us, and that's important.
Excellent. I love that.
I gotta be honest.
I'm only clapping because that's Bruce Arena erasure.
I gotta be honest. Sometimes it's hard because, you know, we want to go out. We don't want to no one knows us, but it's hard to hide. Yeah. I try to wear hats and stuff. People still recognize me. So
might be the neck tattoo. It could be.
Might be.
Okay, Diego, everyone in this town coming off a magical second MLS season, one in which the club made it to the semi-finals before, I'll say this very quickly, before falling to eventual champs LAFC. Knowing how far this club has come so quickly, what message would you have for these fans here tonight about the upcoming season?
I think you see us. We grew from year one to year two this fast. Who knows what we can do in year three? So if you're not making it to the games, something's wrong. Your calendar's not open. So you need to fix that. Come to the games. Show our fans. I promise you, the experience that you'll feel in the stadium is different than what you're seeing on TV. I know it's loud on TV, but come to the stadium, you won't be able to hear the person next to you. It is amazing. And next year will be another year. We're going to go for the run, and we're all excited. So if you're not there, then I don't like you.
Austin, please let this man keep winning at foot golf. Please be upstanding for one of your own, Mr. Diego Fagundez!
¡Listo! ¡Listo! ¡Listo!
Wow. Oh. Another very fine-smelling human being, Roger.
By the way, that gentleman who let him believe he's good at foot golf is a local genius. Oh, Davo, what a night this has been in every regard.
And the good news, it is not over yet. Right after this, we're heading to La Vaca to raise a glass with all of you. That's 405 La Vaca Street, just around the corner from here. But before we meander on over and get stuck into those buds, can we get a toast, Rock?
I need my Jägermeister cold. Let's hear it from producer John Johnson.
Oh, here he comes with the cold. Oh, fantastic.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He's also producing Andrew Lloyd Webber's latest musical in New York. Andrew Lloyd Webber, latest graduate from the Chelsea Academy.
Or the Aspire Academy.
Oh, God forbid. He's actually good at football. Oh, God, that smells good. I want this is ice cold, and I want to raise this Jägermeister to today's American achievement which was vast. I don't use the word vast enough. I really like it. I'm not, by the way, I didn't say this earlier. I don't feel comfortable with the word scrotum, but I've said it a lot tonight. But I like the word vast, I do. And today's performance brings to mind, I'm sure it does for all of you, in this incredible venue, can I just say, to play Austrian City Limits is, as a new American who loves this nation and finds this whole terrain filled with wonder, to sit here with Davo, with you, and commune in this American moment. I find it so deeply, deeply meaningful and emotional. I want you to know, you will forget this night as soon as you leave here. I will never forget this night. I will never forget this moment. This is what I will think about. This is what I'll think about. This is the joy of football. When you think about, like, if you name a year, 1986, I will think about Maradona lacerating England. When you say, like, 2010, you will think about Landon's goal. When you say now the year 2022, you will think about our Lord and Savior giving up a testicle. And I will be thinking about Austin City Limits. I will. You're incredible. Austin, you are incredible. And we want to raise a glass of each and every one of you in a minute. But I want to end. By the way, we don't take it for granted in any way. This is a fucking incredible venue. It's an incredible city. It's an incredible day for our nation. You are an incredible audience. Can we raise a glass to you very quickly?
Absolutely.
And I want to end with the words of Calvin Coolidge. You knew I was going there, right?
Yeah.
Our 30th president.
It's not in the squad.
And I believe Calvin Coolidge was thinking about today's team, today's performance, today's moment, when he said, nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, press on, has solved and will always solve the problems of the human race. And I raise this glass to saying to you, Austin, to the United States tonight, as we approach Saturday, press on.
Yeah, press on. Okay, Rog, as has been made very clear to us here this evening and everyone over the first 2 years of Austin FC's existence, this really is a very special football, soccer town, and it's thanks to the fans. Did we mention 36 consecutive sellouts here at Q2 Stadium? That is the longest current streak in MLS. And to close us out this evening, we want to pay tribute to the fans that make the city's football culture so special and whose voices provide the soundtrack to matches here. Welcome to the stage, led by one of their captains, Kurt Lammers, to sing All Right, All Right, All Right. It is La Murga!
USA by a fucking million.